Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael, or as the grandkids call me, Rue. And it is Tuesday morning, December 2020. We are close to closing down this year. And we're all hoping and praying that a lot of things close down with it. COVID drifts away, or we all get to where we've had it and go, okay. And hey, don't live your life in fear, okay? At least live your life being creative. And that's what some of us are doing here. Appreciate it. Let me hit the play button for you here. Uh, Showed a little video, a couple videos that I dug up off my site. Hadn't had a whole lot of time to do any painting or anything else for that matter in the last few days, simply because um, I've been with grandkids and kids and grandkids' dogs, and we have Carol and I are. It's just been fun. We've cooked a lot of food. We've laughed a lot. It's just been awesome. It's just been awesome. That's all I can say. That's all I need to say. Let me say hi to you guys this morning. Thanks for piling on the show and jumping in. Thank you for sharing this show and liking the show. I know we call it a show. I don't know what else to call it. I get in here in my little cubicle. It looks gigantic, really. I'm actually in a phone booth somewhere off the coast of Wales. Not really. But let me say hi to you. Michael Ashford, thanks for jumping on board first thing this morning, buddy. I'll call you a little later. Got some news for you. I want to push on to you. Alice Jordan, thank you for being here. My camera's trying to find me this morning. Alice Jordan, good morning to you. Beverly, I said that. Beverly Schmidt. Bob from the sublime cornfields of Iowa. Man, I love it that you're taking us on a little journey and connecting all the dots. The Better Business Bureau and the Chamber of Commerce should be calling you soon, saying, hey, who's this guy talking about all the cornfields in Iowa? Donna Burton, good morning to you. And Irma Burton. It's Bullman and Burton. I messed up the first one. Donna Bullman, Irma Burton. Pat Brooks, welcome to the show. Thank you. I owe you an email. I've just been tardy on everything. Got a couple work projects done yesterday and just zipped along. Tina Bridges, Randall Craven, Taylor Craven, Belinda, thank you. Joy, thanks for being on the show. Kathy Taylor, Midwinter. In the mid-blue winter. Makes me think of that song. Teresa, thank you. Minnesota. But wait, nice morning in Minnesota. Wait till this afternoon. I'm not sure what that means, but I know what Minnesota's like. I don't. I've only been there one time, I think. Fern Skelly, welcome to the show. Andy, welcome to the show from Chile, West Virginia. Heather, Suzanne Harris, welcome. Marion Jones, let's paint. Sun is out. Betsy Sobolewski. I probably messed that up. It's Sobolewski. I grew up in East Tennessee, so you got to give me a little credit for knowing there's a lot of consonants in your last name. That's all I'm saying right there. Miss Skelton did teach me the vowels in A, E, I, O, U. I learned that from the Three Stooges, though. B, A, B, B, E, B, B, I, B, 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 O, B, 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 B. Remember that? Oh, my gosh. Lori Stanley Henderson Handelmeyer, thank you for being on the show. Denise Albright, Ruth Ann Godey, golly, woohoo. And of course, Suzanne from DeBerry, Texas, up in Michigan. Caitlin, Six Killer Wonderly. I love that. Alice Durham, thank you for being on the show. And Heidi, welcome back. Hadn't seen your name in a while. Jean, welcome. Pauline Bowl, is it morning already? Yeah, I felt that way a little bit. My little extra cup of tea this morning. I'm drinking Thai Fu tea today. Typhoo, Thai Fu. It's it's almost it's hard to tell. Here I go. Thai Fu and Builders. You guys get together. One of your companies that was carrying Builders quit carrying it, started carrying Thai Fu. It is so close. All the tea in the world except for Rooibos, which is from South Africa, comes from this. It comes from the bush, the red bush. Everything else comes from the same plant. Don't fool me. It's how you dry it. I know all about it. Helen, welcome. Dolores, Pat Hahn, Norman Dale, Brenda Wilcox, Michelle Mace. Golly, look at you guys jump on here. Judy, thank you. Jennifer Parker, Paulette Kempton, with the Canadian flag. Connie Fletcher, Jan Campbell, Christine, Miss Carla, thanks for the note. Sonia Sapsong. That's a bunch of S's right there to put together. All right, I'm going to jump down. I'll say hi to some of you more in a minute. Lynn Burr, Margie, and Rosalind, thank you for being on the show. Elizabeth Smith, did I say hi to you? And Jason Nichols, thanks for being on from New Jersey. Jason, Appreciate all your comments, and I know you love to jump in there and be a changing artist. Here's the thing about change this morning. Let me say this: I'm looking at some paintings that you guys do on Ruse Crew, and that you post, and just on Facebook. They are remarkable. They're remarkable, and I have only a tiny portion to do with that. Here's the thing: it's this thin. It's this thin. I may have pushed you this much. Watch. You're pushing yourself. That's the good thing about art. You're saying, I like this. I like where this is taking me. I like to sit down with a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a cup of something, and create. I like to get a handle on sketching something. I did a couple gesture drawings over the holiday, just as a gift, and I like them. They turned out well. Just gestures, just leaving my pen on the paper and letting it wander. I started off with black and white this morning on the opening videos. 2 old paintings that I've done, and I've laid out here. Let me show you my desk this morning just a little bit. Here it is right here. I've laid out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I would love to have 10. That'd be great, huh? 10 black pens that I actually had on the desk in my box this morning. Just a little tray. Here's the tray laying over here. Oh, gosh, I got to remember to show you this. My son gave me this for Christmas. Can you see this? You know, I'm a pocket knife fan, a Leatherman fan. Look at this. It's a Leatherman. Can you see that? It says Rue right there. Opens up like this. It's a pair of pliers. It's a saw. It's a file. This is like the wave that I lost on a project when I was doing the Bible Museum of the Bible project. It fell out of my bag and slid under a table, and I never got it back. And but look what's on the back side of this. Let me see if you can see this. Ready? I'm going to turn it over very carefully. Can you see this right here? Look. Oh my gosh, it's hard to see. Engraved in there is the rooster head from my cup. He took the logo and carved it in there. So it says Rue on this side, and you turn it over like this, it's got the rooster head on this really beautiful tool. There's a serrated knife blade, there's a regular knife blade, there's a saw, there's a file. Hey, I love this tool. Love it to keep it in my bag. And by the way, it's a great tool. Always need a pocket knife of some sort if you're out doing art. So I use Swiss Army because they're easier to open and close. They don't rust up like carbon. I love carbon to cut with. But okay, so how did I get down that road? Oh, it's Christmas. That's what it was. So black and white. I was looking over in my box to see what other pens I had. We'll do these 9 right here and just do a black and white drawing for you this morning. I love black and white a little bit. Attica, New York is 26 degrees. Yeah, well, you're going to have to go there without me this morning. I think that's just a little too rich for my blood. Let me move this camera for you just a tad here. Hold on one second. I'm going to swing this over so you can see right there. It's going to move just a little, so stay with me for a second. I'm going to focus on this pen right here. Take that out. That's going to give me a little shot to see right there. Okay. I'll move these pens up here. See if we can do it just like that. That's pretty good, Rue. All right. This is all right, if you're taking notes, this is what I do in the class sometimes. The class registration is still open if you want to take an 8-week class. Very little technical teaching, but a lot of helps, tips, inspiration, and instilling in you to go forward, do it. You can do it. That's what my class is all about. Sometimes it's just what we're going to talk about for 8 weeks. Think like an artist. Think like an artist, okay? And I got pocket knives laying everywhere. Okay, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to talk about pens in the class, and we'll break some of it down. Everything from a flare pen. This is a Finito. It's made by Pentel. No surprise. I like Pentel pens. And this morning I'm on a piece of paper that is Fabriano, and it's not a small. Most of the time I paint on Kilimanjaro paper. I paint on a lot of fluid and flame paper. I paint on a lot of Fabriano paper. And so today I happened to receive this small little pad of paper. Take a look, 11 by 14. That's so big I can't even hardly show you guys the whole thing on this camera. But I'll take a piece out of there and slice it, cut it a little bit. And it's beautiful, 100% cotton paper. And so what I'm going to do is I've just got a piece here that's probably what? I don't know, 7, is that 7 by 10 or 7 by 11, something like that? Let's just look and see. Almost, just a little under 7. And 7x11. Sound like I'm at the casino. All right, so here we go. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take this Finito pen, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a rooster sketch, and I'm going to figure out which way he's going. Let me do one like I did on the opening video. Here we go. A little roo looking down here. Wow, music's cranking up. The orchestra's playing well this morning. All right, so maybe he's got a couple feathers bending back over his head like this. Then he's got a couple that are drooping down. He's got his legs stretched out like this, reaching way down here. Just a quick sketch. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to worry about this. I just want to get this roo there. What's he talking to? He's talking to this little peep right here. This little fuzzy guy. He's going to have just a little more fuzz on him than some of my peeps have. Little long legs. Their legs are still a little stringy long at this age. There he is right there. So that makes a great conversation piece for a story. So if I'm meeting with a bunch of middle school kids and I want to tell them a story, or even kindergarten kids or my grandkids, I want to say, well, there was this little peep one day and he went out and he walked right up to this big, or this rooster went out and said, here's some things I need to tell you. I don't want to stand on my soapbox and preach you a sermon, and I don't want to lecture you, but I want you to understand there's some things in life that you need to know. And so let me get into, let's see if this is the shot right here. There we go. Now I'm in the bottom. So I think you can see me and see the roo. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking some pens. We're going to do this in black and white, except for maybe just throw a color in. This is Speedball ink. I'm just going to go in and do some lines in here. I do this over and over, and you guys have started doing it some. I see some black and white come out of there. You forget. I mean, this is all we knew in the phone book for a while until they said yellow pages, which are hard to read anyway. Black and white's still the best way to see it, right? So I'm just going to take and make some marks in here with my Speedball pen. And why? It's because I want some dark. What I really want is I want a little bit of dark down on the bottom end of this rooster. I call that the bottom end. So there's a fountain pen. This is a Pentel fountain pen that's made by Kakuno. That's Kakuno. And it's made by, that's the name of it. It's made by Pilot. This is a medium pen, medium nib, and also just a good dark ink. So I'm just going to come in with some lines right here, and I'm going to cross hash this with just a little different color. Remember, it looks black going on the white paper, but when I put water with this, you're going to see if there's any pigments in this ink. And that's kind of a fun experiment for me. That helps me just get out of my tightness and let me realize that just let the ink do what it does. Just like I'm asking you to let the watercolor do what it does. Just let it be loose. If it wants to turn purple or light blue, let it do so. Okay? Now I've got another fine. This is a Kakuno, but it's the ultra fine tip. I said this was medium. It's fine. This is ultra fine. And here I'm going to just go in and just do some small little hashes. Tiny little hash marks right in here on his beak. And maybe some up in his comb. Okay? And even drop some of those hashes down in here in the wattle. Okay? That's the rooster's wattle. Hey, if you're going to paint rabbits, you got to know all the parts. Okay? This is, of course, my needle pens here. These are good for veining in the feet. This is an 05. This 7 is great for a little boulder to give me the toenails that I want here. Maybe back here. Maybe a spur coming out. And maybe just some little hair follicles coming up on the leg. And also, just to put a few dots in here. Look at this. I'm not being careful on purpose. This is an old Flair pen from, and this, remember, I do this all the time. Hear that? Phone book. What is that? Joaquin said. What was the first pen? The first pen is just an old fountain pen that that my kids gave me years ago, and they came in a case. Let me see. I might have it. Hold on. Yeah, look at this. These two pens came in this case. I think this was from the Nature Company. It's a German-made pen. I'm going to show you this. This is worth looking at. Do I carry a pen every day? Yeah, for about 28 years, I've carried this pen right here. Can you see? These pens were identical when I got them. Look, Look at the wear on this pen. This is like Statue of Liberty patina here. This one is a has a refill in it, and you know what I use in this? I use the refill out of this pen right here to go in here. I had to cut the spring down a little bit so it would fit. I have to do surgery sometimes, you know. I have to go in and take things apart because this is the Pentel 05. And so if I'm out and about, I can sketch with this pen. It's identical to sketching with this pen right here. That's the one I carry in my pocket. This is the sister to the pen, or the brother, however you want to see pens. And for me here, this one, I just have a Speedball ink cartridge in it. Speedball. S-P-E-E-D, S-P-E-E-D, B-A-L-L, Speedball. It's like the printing company Speedball, Speedball ink. Very dark, just a dark, dark ink that I like the way it bleeds. I like the way it runs with the water. So that's what I'm looking at there, okay? So that was the first pen. Okay, here we go. This is a flare pen, and this is some of the early ones. The new ones today are a little fatter. In the end, they have a slicker barrel to hold. This is one of the old pens, and I'm going to put some of this pen down in here just like this, and in around this leg and in around these back feathers right here. Just build this up a little bit. And there's a reason I'm doing this, because I know, because I've done a key for a lot of these pens, I know how they bleed. Okay, so there's 9 different black pens. Which, like, who does this? What the heck is this guy doing? And then I'm going to grab a brush. In this case, I'm just going to grab this Bamboo #1, some clean water up here in this ball mason jar. And then I'm going to jump in, and I'm just going to start right up in here and add a little bit of water and just let this rooster, the ink, do what the ink does. Watch. Okay. I didn't add a lot of water. I just danced the brush a little bit. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab some of this, and look what's happening immediately. If you can see, I've got a little bit of blue. I've got some purple coming in from that flare pen. See, I've got this drifting down. I'm just dragging this brush very lightly. I haven't added any more water after that second dip. Just dancing the brush in here. Now I'm going to go back and get a little more water. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to pick up these pieces a little bit. All right, you see how those little dots are connecting? They're softening up. Now I'm going to go in here where some of that Speedball was. Did I use my Lamy pen? I don't think so. Here's the Lamy pen right here. This has a Lamy black ink in it. It's L-A-M-Y. It's made by Lamy. Great pen to carry around. Somebody asks me all the time, hey, your fountain pens seem to write so well. You know, it's not that I treat them with kid gloves, but I do keep the tips clean. Sometimes I'll just dip them in the water, and I'll take a little paper towel and clean off the nib, or I'll remove the nib. If it gets really crusty and I haven't used it in a while, I'll take everything apart, drop it in a little bit of cleaning solution or soap, wash it out. The best way to clean your brushes and best way to clean your brushes is the way you clean your hair, with a good shampoo that you like. You know, you can get brush cleaners, you can get all this stuff. You know, you can do whatever you want to do. Don't tell anybody, oh, if you don't have this, you can't do that. I'll never do that on my classes either. I'm just not going to do it. Look what's happening, though, when we put a little bit of water in here and just let it happen on cotton paper. Okay? Man, it makes such a great little painting. Sometimes we forget, and Jason, I think you just mentioned that, didn't you? That how black and white can be so powerful. Man, it's amazing. You know, here's the thing: you don't have to do this big, colorful piece. What happens sometimes if you do simple pieces and you do black and white? If you do small, simple, quick black and white pieces, then when you do a bigger color piece, it really adds a little variety to your style. And you go, whoa, look at how that pops. Some of our favorite paintings, I was just mentioning them to my son downstairs. They're over where the piano used to sit. Carol paints there now. They're 3 gesture little paintings, and they're like 5 by 7. And they're just beautiful, and they're all just pen gesture, black and white. I love them. I sent a picture of them to Chip this week, who was working on something. All right, so I added a little water here, but just because I want this to have a little bit of a splash, I'm going to reach in here in my gamboge. Right there, you see me just dancing in here. I didn't really wet those colors. Let me go back and do that just a little bit. I just pick these up, grab a little bit of a spray bottle. This is just a little atomizer bottle. I get those from Cheap Joe's just because I like the style of them. They're small, fit in my bug out bag. And I usually sometimes spray on art. I don't know if I've done that for you guys. I'll do that this morning. Here, let me give myself a note. Let me take my pen here. Spray. Yeah, I'll just find another big piece of paper and do some spray art. All right. Now I lost my brush. I was going to grab a little bit of this gamboge and just go in here and just touch this little peep a little bit. Not too much. Just like so. I don't want to take too much of his black and white away. And then I'm going to just grab a little, maybe a little burnt umber or a sienna brown of some sort, and just let that be a little different. And then I'm just going to use some of that brown and water down here on the bottom and just sort of create a little bit of a base for this root to stand on. Maybe grab a little earth and green, just a touch, throw it in there like that. And that'll be the only color in here, okay? Maybe. We'll see. I'm going to let it dry there and see what happens. It's kind of a fun painting. Look at how all this is beginning to dry out. Can you see this spot right here? Let's see if I can hold this up and let you see it. See this spot right here? That's just a little, got this cool little undulation in it right there. I didn't really paint that. It just happened in the water, right where the end of my brush is. That is the coolest thing. That's where watercolor to me just takes over. I had a little bit of green left in this brush. I'm just touching it up in here. Just playing now. Might go get a little bit of yellow right here off this and put it right there. And I'm done. Now, what I might do is go in here and get some of this, roll my brush in it a little bit like this. Roll my brush in that and just get a pen here or a pencil. Just give this guy a little bit of a splatter around just like this, just kind of dancing, dirtying up the page a little bit. All right, so there's your little painting done this morning. How fun is it to do that? Roodoodles.com, which, by the way, is where you can go if you want to sign up for the Roodoodles class. It's still open. It starts January 6th, runs through February 24th. Roodoodles.com, information is there. Once you sign up, you'll receive a note that says go to here, and once you sign up, you'll get a little registration thing. It'll take you to a private Facebook page, and then you just wait there. I'll open it several days before it starts. I'll put some videos on there, just some entry things. We're going to paint something old, something new, new year, new idea, new concept. It'll be fun. And then we're gonna start at some of the basics again and just sweep through those pretty fast. If you haven't been with me at all, some of the stuff that I've just done this morning, we're going to go into it in a little more detail. Pens and paints and brushes. If you don't have your own supplies yet, you can pick up some. If you have supplies that you love, don't change your colors. Don't change your palettes. Don't change your brushes. Just hang in there. Let's talk about painting and being creative and being loose. Can you do that? All right, so there's a little painting. I'm going to drop it down here on the floor. And then I'm going to grab another piece of paper and just do something that I don't think I've done with you guys before. I'm going to grab a big piece of this Fabriano paper. Here it is right here. This is a big block of paper. Take a look. And man, it is awesome paper. Studio watercolor paper. Now this is a pad, not a block. We'll talk about all that. Okay, so there's a big piece. I'm just going to try to keep my painting right in here, maybe. If not, I'll move everything over and get you a little bigger camera shot. We can do that too, just by widening out just a little bit right there. Okay, that gives you the outside edge just a bit, I think. It's pretty close. My hand's right there on the outside edge. All right, let me move these pins out of the way, but something I'm going to... You see me blow colors around a lot, but I'm just going to throw some on there and shoot color on them today. Here we go. I'm going to grab a little bigger bamboo brush. This one right here. Okay, this is about a number 4 maybe. Number 3 or 4. Yeah, 4 probably. See it? Could be a 5. It's going to shrink a little bit. When I put it in this water, it tightens up. All right. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to grab some gamboge right here. Just roll my brush in a little bit, and I'm just going to hammer it down on the page. No, okay, I'll just touch it down there. It's not going to want to fall out of there so tight. All right, so there's a little bit of yellow. Don't know where this painting is going to go. Don't know what this painting is going to be. Might not turn into anything. Put a little red here like I do if I'm painting a rooster. Going to need some red up here somewhere. Going to need some blue. So I've got my 3 primary colors right here. Put some blue in here. Going to get a little more of that blue. It's not wanting to jump out of this brush very well, is it? All right. So there's my 3 colors on the page. And now I'm just going to take this big brush. I'm going to go get my water bottle, and I'm just going to spray it a little bit like this. Just really soak it out a little bit. Look at that. And then I might even pick it up and blow it a little bit now that I've really wet the page. And you already see the rooster, don't you? Yeah, see? Get some green in here. This is, if you ever want to let kids have fun, just let them kind of come into it like this, knowing where you're going to push them toward the shape. Okay? It's always fun to do. Put on some fun music and just let them go. And get a big enough piece of paper that they don't, spray the kitchen table down. Of course, I was going to paint a rooster. I didn't know if you'd think I was going to start with a badger today. Not ready to do a badger. A little bit of this mixed with that. Look at this. If I put in here some of this red into here, I'm going to get a nice purple coming in on this blue. If I add some green, I'm going to get the brown that I want on the tail end. Is this a great rooster? No. The point is, though, I've done something very loose and abstract, which I don't do very often. I do all whimsical, but abstract's kind of a different deal. All right. But I just want you to see that I could just add that spray bottle to my paper also if I wanted to. Do anything I want. It's my painting, people. We act like there's some rules, and they really should be. We're working on our rules. Pat's going to be sending me some that she's done probably later this week, or maybe just the first part of the year. And then I've got to finish up all the writing on there. We'll be sending you send you a notification about our book. Hopefully, I'm going to have it done maybe as early as February. We'll get it back out. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So you see how that rooster sort of came to being there. Now, he definitely needs some dark in him. So I'm going to go in here and just get some lamp black and just bring that in here and sweep it through. And that's going to give us some tone and some contrast to all that big old glob of blue up there. Okay? So that's kind of a fun thing to do, too. You see what's happening with this big old text or the big old mat, big old. That's, if you're in the Southeast, you can say big old. It's, look, it's breaking in, and the colors are finding their undulations into all that cotton. And so it's leaving this great looking pattern that you can't paint. A little more black in here, kind of come in here like this. Maybe a little touch under here for shadow, maybe just a touch of an eye. And I suddenly have this painting that is happening. Okay? So you have this rooster that's almost 14 inches. He's a good 12 inches by 11 inches here, maybe 13 by 11. And I really didn't do much to get him there except use a big old heavy wet brush and just spray some water on the page. Now I could come in and do a little detail with a finer brush if I wanted to, or I might let it dry a little bit and come back in with my black pen if I let it dry a little bit. You said if I were working on this in my own, and I weren't doing this as a show where we're pushing things around a little bit or I'm trying to speed up, I'd come in like this. So this is where you're going to mess up your fountain pen, and you're going to have to clean it out a little later. But you can come in right here and it's still too wet, but I'm going to eventually come in and I'm just going to make some marks. Could I do that with a pencil or something else? Let me see if I get this one right again. Yep. All right, I come in with a marker of some sort or even a pencil, and I can find my line here and just establish that line like this. So is this painting backwards? Yeah, sometimes. How fun is that? I'm drawing the lines around where the paint went. That's kind of fun. But look at the detail that it's given this a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing right here. So I'm going to go in. I'm just using a pencil, and I'm just scraping the pencil through. By the way, if I wanted to get rid of some of this right in here and make it pop a little, watch. So I've gone in. I don't want those to look like my fingerprints. I'm going to soften them out just a little bit. But if I come in here now and drag my brush through that, and look what you can do with bamboo brushes sometimes. I can split them apart like this. See this? See that right there? And I can drag this through here, and I get this cool little sweeps. Oh, bet you didn't think about that, huh? That's kind of the fun stuff that you just learned. See that? I just opened the brush up like you would buy. Look, you could buy a watercolor brush. It's a fan. I just didn't want one that was a symmetrical fan. So this is not symmetrical. It's just how I saw it coming apart this morning. Okay, a little too much water right up here. So I'm going to grab that. Look, see that? See those little strips coming down? Okay. This is a painting that calls for me to probably go change my water out before I do something else, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. Eventually, I might want some darker lines. Sometimes in my style, hear what I'm saying here. In my style of painting where I'll outline and fill it in, okay? This is like coloring in the third grade sometimes. But in my style, I want that drawing to be bold enough. So I like having that hard edge, around the sides. And so what I'll do then is I will go back in and in a painting like this, and I'll add a little bit of that edge. I could probably do it with this 07 Pentel pen. Like watch when I come in here on the feet. See this? See what's happening right here? I'll come in here now. The 07 really does pretty good at writing on wet surfaces because it has a gel ink that rolls out, and there's a micro little needlepoint ball. So I really say I don't like ballpoint pens, but honestly, this one is a micro ball that just kind of rolls. But look what happened when I just highlighted that a little bit. You see how it made the color pop? Ding! And you know what I got in here? I got a little rainbow that I wasn't expecting, but I pulled a little bit of yellow in there, and it hit the blue, made green. I pulled a little red, it made a little purple. I suddenly have G. Roy Bibb right there. I got it all, okay? I can put some detail in the feathers with this pen, like so. I can come in here. Is that cool? Okay. So what you wind up with is this big old Roo that's sneaking up on something, a grasshopper. I don't know what he's doing. He's maybe staying out of a snowball fight. The point is, I just put some paint down there. I sprayed it with my water bottle, and I drug it in the abstract way that I wanted this rooster to fan out in his body. And so I'm going to let this dry, then I'll come back to it. And then I might do a few more marks with pencil. I might create some spin-offs here. I might come in here and just do a little bit of lines. It's got a great look. Okay? So basically, when you're rolling around with your tools, when you're just trying to figure out what you're going to use, don't be afraid to pick up a tool that's new to you. Don't be afraid to pick up a brush that's sometimes this big and go, wait a minute, what are you doing with that big old brush? I'm going to, you know what? I'm just going to wet it a little bit, and I'm going to drag it right across this surface right here. I'm just going to put some details and feather on there, dragging a dry brush against some of this very super wet surfaces that I did. What's it going to do? Is it going to mess it up? I don't know. This is the first one of these I've done in 5 or 6 years. And I can't even remember doing that. I remember playing with it some in the future. I just thought of it this morning when I picked up that spray bottle. I need to pick up a little bit of yellow here and orange, and then come in here and add some texture to these feet. And I'm just doing that with this brush right here. If I need a little more, I'll go over here in my color and just pick up some. The good news about this paint here, it's really this mixture anyway. So I'm just going to add a little touch of this to his feet by just, I'm painting like an oil painter now, okay? Oil painters sometimes just jab at the surface. Yeah. You know, sometimes you see long strokes. Most of the time you just see them going with a little brush go, oh. Watch oil painters paint sometimes. And some of you paint with oil, you go like, oh, that's different right there. I'm just punching a little color in. I think that's I think Bob Ross was the first person I probably ever saw do something like that. He'd go like, let's just put a little tree right here. And they had the microphone in such a way that Shotgun Mike is picking up his brush strokes, hitting that canvas, going crunch, crunch. And he's painting with a brush that looks like my dad would send me out to paint the house with. You know, I love that so much. I'm thinking, this dude is making this up as he goes. Oh, so is this dude. So I want you to understand, my style is an experimental one. It's a creative one. It's a style of gesture and explosion, but I started very, very small, trying to do the same thing on a small level. So I'm going to show you that next. Look at that, though. That's not a bad roux, huh? Might want to clean this up just a little bit right here. So I'll just sweep in here and give a little more line to this. Ooh, that's pretty cool right there, huh? And if I had my way again, I would have left a lot of white paint right here. I would have left a bigger holiday in this rooster. That's what it got away from me on the spray. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab some titanium white, if there's any in here at all. It's pretty grim in this bottle. I'm going to get some out of there. Let me shake it one more time here. Almost out. And here we go. Watch this. Just going to take this and drop a drop of it right there, right there, right there, and right there. And then I'm just going to blow it out a little bit. And then I'm going to just take this brush, kind of a dry brush, and just squeak it out here like so. That's going to give me a little bit of that give me a little bit of holiday in there. It's hard to get them back once you lose them. And so I lost these in this painting because I had so much water and it all ran together. But this is going to free it up just a little bit. Make it a little lighter looking, like there's some holidays in his colors. There's a bubble right there. Boop. And I'll just pop it and let that paint go where it needs to go. Okay. So there we go. Needs a little touch of red, I think, right in here. Just going to do that. Ooh, just a beauty mark or two. And I'm thinking that it needs a little roux or terry tardy turquoise right down there. Like that. Just on the bottom end. Just get those bottom end feathers that just need to catch that water and run a little loose. Just right on those bottom end. The part that lays on the ground underneath the tractor. All right, clean this brush out. And you can do a whole painting with this brush. I promise you. You can do a whole painting with any of these brushes. Look at these. These brushes you don't hardly ever see me use right here. But sometimes I drag these big boys out and just go crazy. Okay? And there they are. Most of these this is a Harmony Squirrel Tail. This is a signature model from Joe Miller. This one is too. These two brushes right here, probably the finest brushes I have. They're still fleece or nylon, but they're nice. And these are still my American Journey, ones that I use the most, which are interlock nylon. Great brushes, though. You know, just good brushes for the money without me spending a fortune on paint brushes. Let me put these back. Okay. All right, so there's a big one. Let me do a tiny roux and show you what you can do with that. Who doesn't have some beauty marks? That's right, Patricia. Don't you forget it. At the end of it, you just go, ooh, it looks so plain. I need a little pop in there. And for me, I think sometimes I use these colors. I use that red again, that Red Hot Mama, or I use the Terry Tardy Turquoise, which is Andrew's turquoise from Cheap Joe's. I'll use a little bit of Halloween orange to just come in and just pop a little orange in here. And maybe just touch a little orange there. and right here, but also just back in this feather somewhere. There's always that feather that you just kind of go, ooh, I like that. And maybe a little more orange on the feet. Look, I'm holding my brush like this. What am I thinking? Who paints upside down like that? It just forces me to keep this brush loose. How much detail do you get if you're painting like this? Not very much. Okay, this is tiny. I'm not trying to put in a little perfect stroke. I'm just trying to go, hey, I want to just make that rough. All right. I think you get the drift, so to speak. Not a bad little painting. The tail could have some more holidays. I might come back in with a pen and I might do some longer brush strokes in here with this pen like this. I might, he says as he does it. And then come in and just pick up a little bit of softening with those on a brush. And then come back in, touch a little here. All right, I quit. I'm dropping it in the floor. And I hope it fell face up. All right, same paper, okay? Same paper. 100% cotton, Fabriano. And here we go, okay? Similar type thing. In this case, what I would do here is maybe get a little tighter brush. Let's see, here's a number. Is this a number 3? Number 4. This is a number 4, American Journey, okay? This is Cheap Joe's brush that I really like. These are, I don't know, this is $6 or $7, maybe $8 for this little brush that I'm going to have for the next 8 years. That's $1 a year. You can afford a brush like this. It works perfectly for your gift, for your small work you're selling this year, anything like that. And I painted the front of my coffee cup or my teacup, so let me clean that off here. Here, I'll just clean it out of my tea. I swept my brush over there with the yellow on it. If I put them on the floor, my dog would eat it. All right. Laurie, I've got them. How are those 100 roofs coming? I think I've got about 87 of them finished. So here we go. All right, so look at this morning. I'm just going to grab a little bit of, I'm just going to grab, no sketch, just going to grab a little bit of paint. Here, I'll do this roof. I'll do them this way. I'll do this roof this way. See, I changed right in the mid-stroke right there. There's a little wattle. Excuse me. There's a little comb. There's the wattle. And just with a little thin brush and watercolor. I'm going to show you how to put the lines in afterwards, like I did the big roof. All right, but I'm mostly painting on dry paper. I haven't wet this paper yet, okay? I've just sort of left it dry. But I want you to see the difference in two things. Ready? Here's what we're going to talk about. You want your colors to really pop? You go pigment and water onto dry paper. Man, they will pop, especially on cotton paper, because what will happen is those undulations, those rough places of cotton, they're going to grab that paint and hold on to it. And they got more facets, just like a diamond. They've got more edges. It's flat paper, it sort of flattens the paint out. But paper that's got a lot of cotton in it, a cold pressed paper, it's got a lot of facets like a diamond. It'll let that color hit the color from lots of different angles, and that's pretty awesome when that happens. Okay, and this brush is way too small to paint this rooster with, but I'm going to continue it just so you can see how this comes together. All right, so I'm going to come in here with a little red, clean out my brush every time before I go back into my paint. Just get a little clean paper towel. Here's a clean one right here. Haiti says, now what? White paint? Yeah, if you don't leave a little. And I sprayed it with a spray bottle, remember? So when you spray the spray bottle, you're going to lose some of your holidays. So I had to go back in and cheat a little bit. That's not cheating, you know. Cheating is just running down to the big box store and buying somebody's art you never met before and hanging it on your wall because you need a piece of color. No. Go do what my son and my daughter-in-law just did. Just go buy a big canvas and get yourself some paint and just say, I think we're going to make a piece of art and hang it in our house. And people are going to come in someday after COVID and they're going to say, oh, who did this piece of art? And you're going to say, I did. That is the coolest feeling. Is it a prideful feeling? Maybe, but it's not bad pride. It's a good kind of pride. It's like, oh my gosh, we did this ourselves. I love it when that happens. You see what happens? See all the holidays that are in this little painting right now? You see all these little places? I don't need white ink. That's the white paper popping through because I'm just leaving space in here. I'm not in a rush. Well, I am because I'm painting on live internet. And so I'm a little speeded up because people's attention span is about a cup of tea. And it's chilly in here today, so my tea's Rue. June Jones says I can sell my used paper towels as an abstract. Yeah, I did this for your. That's actually a funny thing. You know, what if I just frame one and put it downstairs? People would say, "Oh my gosh, where's that?" I said, well, I want to just make up a story about that. In the words of Ronald Reagan, well, that was Rembrandt's paper towel. I didn't know they had paper towels Rembrandt's day. Oh, he had paper towels. Frederick Remington. Man, was he a watercolor artist? And you think, what? I thought I knew him for bronze. Man, but he did some watercolor work that was over the top. Hey, I came to art late in my life. I thought music was the art I was going to do, and then I thought blacksmithing was the art I was going to do. And then one day I wake up on my birthday, and my wife has given me paint and art supplies. I'm going like, what the heck is that? I have no idea what to do with that. And you know the story. Some of you know the story. And she was taken off with some friends on a journey, and family at that time, taken off to go on a family trip that her mom was still living. They had planned. And I just piled everything together. The kids were away at camp, and I got out my easel and said, okay, here we go. And then I just had this great laugh by going like, I'm a crazy person. I have no idea how to draw, how to paint, how to do anything. So I went and bought myself a book on sketching, and I tell people exactly what I tell you. If you can't sketch a bicycle, then start to sketch 50 of them. And after you sketch about 50 of them, you'll suddenly say, I think that looks like a bicycle. And then you'll paint one of those bicycles. I was hooked immediately on watercolor just because it's so loose and unpredictable. Ta-da! Welcome to my ADD ADHD world, or as Dr. Jim calls me, your fast brain. And I love the fact that my brain just flies very rapidly, and I'll go off on a tangent and I'll generally get back. This little Roo is so cool. Okay? So there. Now I'm going to go get one of my little pens, one of these number 5s, and I'm going to put in some lines on this. I'm going to let him sit just for a second. So I'm going to come in here underneath this. This is another black pen. I don't think I used this one this morning. See, there's my 10th one. I knew it. This is a little flare. I'm going to come in. I'm just going to grab this and just going to do some strikes underneath. A little heavier on this side right here, and a little this shape because they're going to show the shadows of the Roo coming out. Then I got some going this way. Okay, and then I'm going to take this brush and just sweep it through this ink, and look what happens. I get this perfectly little Payne's gray shadow down there. Put a little earth green on the bottom of that, like so. Put a little yellow maybe in there just to kind of aim it toward brown. When you get those 3 colors together, this is where you experiment either in your palette, or if you're wild and crazy, you experiment on your paper and you just let it be. I've had paintings that have sold. I had a painting in a gallery that someone said, oh my gosh, what color is that? How did you get that right there? And I'll go, I just got it by putting this color on and then this color on and that color and a little more water and going like, ta-da, that's the color. And they're going like, well, how did you know it would turn to that color? And I go, I didn't. I didn't. That's the fun of this thing. Loosen up and just have fun. This next year, I wish this wish for you, that you paint, that you create, and that you be loose in the process, okay? I really do. All right? Is that just a regular pen or a paint pen? Tony, I don't use paint pens. It's just a regular pen. Some people do use paint pens. And in fact, I have a friend on this show who is killer in the marker department. And you're going to hear more about her this year as we get our book done. Pat understands, some of you understands markers much, much more than I do. But this is watercolor, and I just use pens because I love, once again, it's my style. It's not And I will teach you some of this style if you're interested, because we're going to go back to the beginning a little bit of my watercolor class, and we're going to pounce through some of the quick things that I use, materials that I use. You don't need a truckload of stuff to start. You just need a couple brushes, a good pen or two, 3 or 4 colors of watercolor, or sometimes even a little palette box like this. My favorite 6 colors right here. 7. Okay, I cheated. 7 1/4. I put a little orange in there. And, oh, there's a little sienna brown. So it's got 9 colors in it. And there they are. Gray, blue, yellow. What kinds of blue? Ultramarine. My wife calls it French blue. And it's the color that she loves. It's the color that I got hooked on. Just putting a little tiny spot right here. See, I just shift gears on you right there. I was talking about something else and went back to paint. So what you have to do if you're doing 2 things at once here. Man, this is such a great little roux. Always amazed at how Roux is able to get the ink out of his brush to move to the next color without muddling the colors. Well, what you don't see is off to the right here. Sometimes you can hear it. There is a ball mason jar of ugly water. And the reason a lot of my brushes look like this, take a look. Can you see that right there? Can you see this one has no paint on this side and all the enamel of the brush color is banged off? Take a look at this one. Look. Okay? This brush is about 10 years old, and now I just use it for a mud pie brush. But basically, this is a new brush I just got from Cheap Joe's right before Christmas. And they're both number 4s. One's wet, one's dry, one's chipped all to pieces. But I bang this brush pretty hard on the edge of this jar, wash it out, and then I go on my clean paper towel here, boom, 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 boom. And I'm doing that lots of times while this hand's over here doing something. I'm doing that before I put it in my next color. If you start trying to take your red brush and go get a little yellow, and your yellow brush and go get a little blue, pretty soon you're going to have a palette that's just brown. Now, can you keep that palette of brown and use it? Oh, later it might be the color that you want to add to this earth down here. But you don't want that brown in everything you're doing up here, okay? So he says that as he puts a little brown right in there. And that brown came from me mixing a couple colors over here, grabbing a little yellow, okay, on the edge. If I do have to go grab a little bit of color, and these are just the tricks and the tips you'll learn. If I got a little bit of orange in this brush and I want tone it down a little bit, I can go in here on this ugly part between on my palette. See that right there? See it right there? And I'll grab that. That may be exactly the color that I'm looking for right there. A little burnt orange right there. Okay? So why do I not worry about this boundary? Because my deep color, my clean color is down in here. And I keep these colors moist so I don't have to jam my brush down in there. That's the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about on the class. RouxDoodles.com if you want to register for that. I'm going to go in and get a little of this Red Hot Mama. I love the cello. If I were going to play the cello, this would be the song that I'd play, right? Yeah, G major. It's Bach did this. You know who that is? I can always tell. Nobody plays the cello like Yo-Yo. Okay, there you go. So let's look again now as it's dry. Okay, you ready for that? I'm going to show you 3 pieces I did. Ooh, as he bends over. There's the black and white roux. Let me move this one aside just for a second. Son, I once had color too. You know, the older you get a little washed out. And that's the way God planned it, I think. I think that's perfectly fine. I like sometimes visiting with some good old washed out people. You're just a little washed out. You know, your hair tends to go a little grayer and your skin kind of gets a little paler. You just get a little washed out. Start off so bright and colorful. That painting makes me laugh. I didn't even know I was going to title it that. All right, here's the one that I just used a spray bottle on, dropped some paint down, threw it in. It's a little drier now, so watch this. I'm going to come in with a little pen and just go in for a little detail. Maybe I'll put some, what we call them, beauty marks, a little bit of cuts and pushes in here like this. Maybe a little more veining in the legs and some dots here just to represent the hair. I think I need to come in with a brush here and just create a little bit of that base. Excuse me, not base, but earth. It's a good base. I live on the base. I live on the earth. Get a little bit of yellow in there. And let's go and grab some of this color right here. Let's just make this color work a little for me right here. A little bit of this black, and see I'm rolling it out in my brush, and I've got a little bit of it in here. I'm just going to grab, where's my pencil? Do I have a pencil? Should have one. Oh, here's a paintbrush. I'll use it. Let me pull it right in here and just give this a little bit of that color out of the feathers. Sometimes it's fun when you use your painting as a palette. We'll talk about this. When you use your painting as a palette, any other paint that you mix in here, you've got colors that have already mixed together and matched together. So it's going to work. It's going to work. So now I just get this. I'm not introducing some random color from the outside. See, I can come in here and grab a little water and roll this into this turquoise a little bit. Even though this has been down there for 20 minutes now, grab a little of this. And that gives me some of my little grays. Maybe I want to come in here with a little of this and shade this leg a little bit like this. Look at that. Get a little shading on the outside. And probably need a little shadow underneath the feet. So see, I'm going to grab those right there. Can you see what I'm doing? Yep, look at that. Not much. I just need a little bit of a shadow here. See what that does? That shadow right there changed that leg into just a flat leg to a little more of a 3D leg, especially if I turn this down just a little bit and put a little circle. Look at that. Unbelievable. See how that changed that leg? That's what watercolor can do. If I came in here and just grabbed a little more yellow right here, I can reclaim a little of this space. Okay, there's that da-da-da, and rinse it out with water. Okay, this guy here needs to be signed, and I'm close. I'm close to wrapping up an hour here with you guys this morning on a Tuesday. The next time that we paint together, I'll have to change my copyright. Yeah, I'll register again for 2021. Rudoodles.com. There it is right there. Welcome, New Year. I need you. There it is right there. It looks like he's looking forward. All right. Maybe I come in here with a little, maybe I come in here on the back side of this with just a little yellow over here. It looks like the sun's dawning just a little bit right in here. I'm not sure what we're listening to now. The music's going off the deep end. All right, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Welcome. Welcome, New Year. I need you. All right, so those two down, and look at this little painting that I love right here. I kind of like this little painting. Just showing you how to go from very large to very small in the same stroke of the pen. Just a little bit of blue floating around here. Do this one for New Year's too. New Year's coming. Get on the bus. 20. All right. That might be the painting that I may do one more of these and just post it on New Year's just for fun. And I might paint on New Year's, maybe late. I don't know. Maybe I'll just paint the New Year in. All right. Ooh, I love that little painting. This is 5x7. By the way, this painting is on a watercolor block, and I'll finish with this. A block it's glued all the way around. Stuff we'll talk about in class. That's a little too heavy right there. I want to take that spot out. There we go. So it means that only one corner is not glued down somewhere. All this is glued. So I know that it's right here. There it is. I'm just going to take a little tool. I could take a palette knife. In this case, I got a little, like a folder, but it's just a little splitting tool. It's from Cheap Joe's. I don't know what he really calls it. I should look that up. I was there one day, and they threw it in top of my order with some other stuff. Said, here, take one of these. I'm like, what is that? It looks like an Arabian knife that I carried out with in the desert. So anyway, so there it is right there. Just to split that off. Good paper, though. Good paper, good pens, good brushes. I hope you got some great Christmas supply stuff. I'm going to go have another cup of tea. And I'm going to leave that with you. I may post this one soon. And I think, Annette, I think I am going to sell these. And so I'll shoot photographs of them later today and make sure they're finished the way I want them to go out. And I'll look at them one more time, and I'll put them out there for the New Year's, and I'll put a fair price on them because I love for people to have small and large, but certainly small original art to hang in your homes. I thank you for being a part of my creative venture. I really do. I thank you for enjoying the cups and the conversation. It's one-sided, but not really. I see your comments, and I see your art. And thank you so much. Crowing in the new year, Miss Carla says, thank you so much. The time does fly, Pat. Appreciate you. I'll respond a little later today on something you and I are working on. Chris Whitaker, Valerie, Karen Binders, Debbie, just discovered you. Well, Debbie, welcome aboard. I'm glad you're here. And Liz, thanks for jumping back on. Kathy Dietz, my walls are turquoise. There you go. Barb Meyer, thank you. Shanlin, Judy, some of the people I didn't get to say hello to when I jumped on the show. Annette, I do have mugs left. You can get the mugs also at rudoodles.com. If you see that one right there, it's not focusing, is it here? Maybe it'll focus here. It's trying. Nope, it's not going to focus. So here we go. Take a look at it right here. There it is. It's got a Rue's face on it right there. It says Rudoodles. It's a £1.50 big diner mug made by M. You know the real deal on my mugs, right? That take both hands to hold them. They hold the drink warm long time. You can milk one goat in one. You can pour hot bacon grease in it, keep it for gravy. And if someone takes your purse, you can take them out with it. Okay? £1.50. I'll put that in a box and ship it to you. I think I have probably 15 of them left or something like that. That's probably all I'm going to print. They've been fun. Okay, be careful of the holiday on that paper towel. All right. Yes, Annette, I see the captions. All right, here we go. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. And so it has been a blast to be with you guys. Happy, blessed, safe New Year. I don't even know when the New Year is, Friday. So maybe I'll paint Saturday morning and we'll talk about New Year's one more time before we get into some classes. Always loved TV shows that went off with a tone or a sound, so that's why I do this. Thanks for finding my page. Thanks for liking my page. And thanks for sharing my page. That means a whole lot to me.